All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this forum on behalf of Molly Tommy. Tonight, we're going to talk about surviving the holidays as a transgender non-binary person. So first off, we're going to go around and introduce ourselves, and then we have some questions, and we'll just keep the conversation going. Uh, Gabagool, would you like to introduce
Yeah,
yourself? We'll just go
hi
right around.
everybody. Oh yeah. I'll do it first. It's fine. I don't mind. I'm Gabagool. I am a drag queen extraordinaire from Phoenix. I consider myself kind of alternative, kind of in between. I am definitely non-binary. I I do what I can just to live my life authentically as myself, and non-binary is where I fall. I am 13-year veteran in the artistry of drag, and I have many different volunteer things that I do here in our community. And that love for the community turned me into a social worker. So now I get to help others during the day.
Love it.
Sophia, I pass the buck to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks for the baton. I caught it. I'm Sophia Hayden. So I'm a part of Melatomy on the board of directors. Prefacing, I'm super sick, so my voice is just gone right now, but I'm going to power through. But I'm a career professional. I work in strategic finance for Intel, about to move over to Walmart. And I recently transitioned from male to female later in life, about 6 months ago. So this will be like my first Christmas sharing a unique experience to all of you. And I'm so thankful to be on the call with all of you. Everybody on this call is so important to me, and I am just very thankful to be here. I'm going to pass the baton to Adriana next.
Hi, guys. My name is Adriana Rose. I am a 29-year-old trans woman, originally from Wisconsin. That's where I grew up. So Midwesterner all the way. I did move out to Arizona about 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. I work, live life, try to make the best of this thing we call life. I've met some really awesome people here. And yeah, I've been transitioning for probably like 8 or 9 years now. I started when I was like 21. So I'm like 29 now.
I slaughtered it earlier. I thought it was like 6 years. Like, sorry. Baton pass. Let's go to Terry.
Okay. Hi, I'm Terry McGriff. I am the president and founder of the National Transgender Sports Association here out of Florida. My whole goal is to allow people to live the life on their terms without any asterisks, without any restrictions of who they are, who they want to be. Happiness is happiness, no matter how you define it, and it's only up to you to define your own happiness.
Bam, right there.
Thank you, Terry. And I'm Heather Brown with Molly Tommy. We're an LGBTQ social media platform, a safe space for everyone to come and chat and make friends. So we'll start off. We're just going to kick it right in there. And we're going to start off with this question. We're going to start off with, how did you spend the holidays before coming out or even before transitioning? And how do you currently spend the holidays, and if that looks differently?
That's such a good question. I feel like maybe like some of the others on the call can introduce their perspective, because this is my first Christmas being trans. So I'm going to be less helpful here, but I can share my perspective after you've all weighed in.
Okay, can I go first?
Yeah, for sure.
I have a unique perspective on when being an ally and learning is going to be an evolutionary thing for me each and every day, and creating and more awareness and also gaining new friends has been something. This is really my first year of actually having so many just wonderful, diverse new friends that can give life from a different perspective than the so-called gay or lesbian or just heterosexual point of view. It's such an eye-opener, because when you don't know what you don't know and somebody turns that light on to you, it's really an exciting experience. And for me, trying to serve the community and help so many people that would not actually be helped or be served, it's great to find and have the perspective and learn, because that's the exciting part of learning. And then you when somebody says they're non-binary and you get to understand their experience, it just kind of opens a part of your body and I mean your whole awareness that you didn't know. And when you can embrace that, it just gives you so much more enjoyment, especially when people know that you genuinely appreciate them for who they are. And then you get that love reciprocated back to yourself.
Love. I would also, you know, I came out to my parents first as gay, then as a drag queen, and then as non-binary. And each time along the way, they had this moment of like, where they got stuck, and they had this moment. I'm already moving ahead. I already told you who I was, and you're kind of stuck back there trying to figure out what's going on. Come with me. Come with me. So I moved away from a small town in northern Illinois at 18, and ever since then, it's kind of just been this sometimes a tug of war with my family. But they always come around, because I think at the end of the day, which is something that I'm lucky to have in my family, the worst thing that could happen in their lives is me to not be a part of it. So part of the learning is every single Christmas, every single time I've come out, is that my family is also learning, and they're processing it in their own in their own way, but they're still around and they're still engaging and they're still wanting to know more and participate. Which as I now live alone, the friends living thing, or finding friends where you can kind of hang out with during the holidays and really celebrate each other, not necessarily the day if you're not religious. That friends living thing has really been a savior for me, knowing that chosen family is just as good as blood family.
Yeah, how about that?
Sometimes chosen family is better because
I almost said it.
they choose you. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. The family chose you. You know, a lot of times when you're born into a family, you know, you don't have a choice. And, you know, I always have this thing, I would rather have somebody like me in my family than love me, because sometimes you do more for people that you like than you actually do that for people that you love.
Yeah. Yes.
I love
And
that. I remember that. That's
The
good.
chosen family puts work in. You know what I'm saying? Every single day, they're texting you, they're calling you, they're checking up on you, they're coming to support you, they're standing and applauding you, even when you don't have anybody there. And I think that's the work that a lot of families aren't doing, because they're so good. They're so good about like writing people off, or because they don't believe it the way that the person wants to live. Is they're so good about like pulling that love and support, where chosen family is all in all the time.
Yes.
Now,
Like pure unconditional love.
Yeah, Gabagool, you said friends living, not friends giving.
Yeah, friends living.
Well, I haven't heard that term before.
Yeah,
I've always heard.
Welcome to the
that
Gabagool experience.
Yes.
It's all new, authentic creation. Like honestly,
I
one of those really
didn't make
cool
it up.
ones.
I didn't make it up.
I'm gonna be Googling this. At least we're not playing Scrabble with the Scrabble dictionary.
Yeah, friends living is you know, just like Friendsgiving, but you can gather with your friends and live and celebrate life and encourage each other to celebrate life, even those times when we can kind of get spun in our head a little bit and we can isolate. In those moments of friends living, we pull on each other's hearts and circle each other with that love that we need.
Yeah,
I love
totally.
that you're talking about a journey where you began, and even as you're coming out so many times, it's a journey, and your family's living that journey with you, but also your chosen family too.
Totally. All right, Adriana, let's hear your perspective on Christmas.
So my perspective, I guess I have been pretty fortunate to, from the start, my family be very accepting of me. For the first part of my life, obviously growing up, I initially was more like in the mindset that I was gay. You know, I identified as like a gay guy. And so initially, like my family had some struggles with that. Not necessarily struggles, but like kind of like understanding. So like but I mean, they were always very supportive. They were always there for me. I come from a split up family, so my parents are divorced. So I mean, like Christmases have always been like, sharing my time differently, with one part of the family and another part of the family. But then when I grew up and I came to realize who I really was and what I wanted to be, then I came out as transgender. I think it was not as big of a shock for them. So again, I have maintained a very close relationship with all of my family, which I am very grateful for. They're all very caring. So it's always been very heartening for me to like know that they are there behind me. So all of my Christmases have been spent with like family. Now moving out here to Arizona has been completely different because it's the first time that I've actually been far away from them. So it's not necessarily like my identity, but it's more so just the direction where I wanted to go in life. And now this is going to be my second year away from home, away from them, and being not really with them has been a little like different for me. But I have learned that, just because they're not here immediately doesn't mean that anything has changed. And I've also experienced having to really spend time with, like you guys have said, like my chosen family, which are my friends that I've made here, like Sophia, my friend Mariah, my friend Emily invited me to her friends' things or her family's Thanksgiving. And it's just, I don't know, it hasn't been much of a like struggle. Obviously I miss my family, but like I like spending time with people that I love, regardless if they're blood or not, is just as impactful in my life and how I spend my holidays. So just really surrounding yourself with people that love you and accept you and embrace you is really what the holidays are about, whether it's family or not, So I think like people coming into themselves, starting their transitions or their realizations and who they are, I think, yes, obviously it can hurt very much to have your family not there, whether it's distance or them disowning you or whatever the case may be. But if you have a good support system and people that actually love you and support you and are there for you, that's really all that matters. And like, that's why I appreciate Sophia so much, because she has given me such honestly, like every trans person that I meet, it's like we all kind of are walking the same path, but come from such different walks of life. And it's such a amazing like journey to really see other people's perspectives. And I love me and Sophia, our friendship that we have made over the past few months, because we really haven't known each other that long. But like
we've known each other for many years in past life.
Like instantly clicked, and just being there for her and her being there for me has just been everything. And it just goes to show that it's like you don't even need that many people. Like all it really takes is like one person to fulfill that spot in your life. So I don't know, I just, growing up now, going into my 30s, I've realized that a lot of things that we put so much importance on really don't matter that much. And it's really just about the people that that you really truly cherish, that make the holidays feel really special.
Well said, honey. I'm so glad you joined us tonight. Yeah, no, it's like, it's interesting for me because like this is my first Christmas ever being alone, and it's like I don't feel alone. Like I haven't met so many people in the Phoenix Valley that like support me and embrace me for who I am. And it's like my immediate family, like I love them dearly. I don't wish any ill will on them. It's a frustrating time for probably both of us. Like they're trying to understand, like it was kind of out of the blue for them. But like my extended family is accepting me. So like, I'm not going to go travel to Michigan. Not that like extended family doesn't matter. It's just like, it's a long trip. And I always dreaded that trip. It's like, I live in Phoenix, you come to see me. It's warm.
Yeah.
But like, I don't feel alone. Like I've got Adria, I've got Gabagool. I got so many people in the community that are so supportive. it like to kind of bring it full circle, like I feel like to me it's like if you're in a position like we are and you're feeling alone and things like that, just remember like the pain is the teacher, and that pain is telling you to make a change. I mean, that change is finding folks that do embrace you, and maybe it's using the Molly Tommy platform, or going on Facebook, or going on Reddit, or Googling what's the local LGBTQ bar or coffee shop, and just introducing yourself to people, and really leaning into the fact that like your vulnerability is your strength, not your weakness. And society wants to use your strength, which is your vulnerability, against you, and to realize that you're not alone, because they want you to feel that. And I just feel like leaning into that has been a very difficult journey for me, but also very empowering. Like I'm a little baby trans girl still, but like leaning into that and having the bravery to do that has introduced me to Adri, to Gabagool, to Heather, to Terry, and to so many other wonderful people. And before I made that leap, like I thought I was going to be alone, and I'm going to die a worm in a hole and come out whenever it rains and go back into the hole when it dries out. Like, you're not alone. You'll never be alone, but you have to put yourself out there. It's a two-way street, and you won't be alone for the holidays. You're good. You're whole. Just be your authentic self.
Yeah, that leads us into the next question, Sophia, that I was actually going to answer, because everyone's talking about, spending it with their chosen family or their family, you're talking with your family. What advice would you give to those that that their family disowned them or not talking with them, and they feel alone and depressed during, it starts at Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving the whole way up to the new year?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll take this one first and then let everybody else say it. But like for me, it's like this really hits home for me because this is my first iteration of all this. Like I got to like spend Thanksgiving with Adri, and I made us lasagna and stuff. Like had a great time. But like my advice to you is to realize like you need to be sensitive to the fact that they might not come around right away, but don't necessarily write them off. But also love yourself enough to establish boundaries. If that connection's bringing you constant pain and frustration and turmoil, cut it off for a while. That's okay. You control your own destiny and your own happiness and how much energy you let into your life that isn't good for you, and communicate back how you feel. Like for me, it's if you're not going to accept me as your daughter, I don't want to talk to you until you do. And that's not love without conditions. That's expecting unconditional love, right? So it's like, know your worth. Don't degrade your worth to be around family, and allow family to come around once they're ready to acknowledge what your worth is. And to me, it's like going through counseling. Like I went to counseling with an amazing therapist, Lana, over at the Gender Identity Center in Phoenix, which is just down the road. But like really learning the ins and outs of having those tools to be able to still be me and still thrive and flourish and be able to have a successful career and amazing friends, and learn the ropes while also trying not to fall off the map, right? Like has been challenging. But I think having those tools and talking to professional help definitely helps elevate you. But like my biggest thing I think for folks to take away is realize you're not alone. You have to put yourself out there to folks that will embrace you. And if you ever need anything, reach out to me personally. Like you're never alone. Like I love our community and I try my best to help everyone.
Very well said. Very well said. I would say this: personal development will be the key, especially when it comes to just developing who you are as a person, not how you identify as a person, but for everything else you're going to do in your rest of your life, whether it's going to be in business, your personal relationships. The one thing you always got to be working on, regardless of who you identify as, is personal development, how to be a better version of you, period. Because that's, regardless of where you go, there you are. You get what I'm saying? And
yeah.
So when you can master you to the best of your abilities, a lot of the outside influences that and validation you're gonna need from other people will kind of subside. You're going to have to be comfortable with you in your own skin, because you're going to have shortcomings in other areas of your life that you're going to, man, I should be better with on my job or in my business or things of that nature. And times if you don't, then you tend to lump other stuff with the other shortcomings that you see yourself having. Or you think that somebody else don't see you as good enough. You have to be the ultimate judge of yourself, and you have to have that personal development to help you get through anything that you do. And it will, the other validation just basically is the icing on the cake, because regardless of what you do, you're going to have haters. Regardless of no matter whatever aspect of your life, you're going to have haters. And matter of fact, I look for the haters because that means I'm doing something right when I got some haters.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Sometimes the haters are coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's this
Well,
really good.
sometimes,
There you go.
sometimes the haters are coming from inside themselves too.
Oh,
You know,
Oh,
Inside
yeah.
your head. Yep.
yourself too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear them.
It's a big thing. Like there's a book I read called, so it's not The Art of War. It's called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Unrelated to trans or anything there, but he's a fiction writer, and he wrote a nonfiction book about basically like creativity and writer's block and things like that. And he developed this or portrayed this concept called resistance, and resistance itself presents itself more so when you're doing something that's good for you. And sometimes it comes to the medium of your family, the ones that love you most. Sometimes it comes from friends. Sometimes it comes from you're going to a job interview that's so important for you, in your head, and you hit like a traffic jam and you're late and you don't get the job because you're late to the interview. And then the next day, another interview pops up and it's like even better. But it's like this concept of resistance is the more resistance you have in your life, the better something is for you. And I've never experienced more resistance in my life than transitioning. Like I've lost a lot financially, emotionally, and friends and family and things like that. But at the same time, I found the most amazing people. It's like this conundrum, like both sides of the extreme opposite. Like as much as you've lost, I've gained so much more. Like I would do it again a million times over, because it's not like an option to me. It's like, this is who I am. And the validation is what the outcome is. And the outcome is finding amazing people. Being on this call with all of you right now is like warms my heart, because you're all such great people. But that book is so good, and it just kind of explains like, like you're going to sit down there and you're about to write a book and you're like, oh, I should do my laundry. If you weren't about to write that book, you wouldn't be thinking about doing the laundry. You would be like, I'm not going to do that. Or, hey, I better do whatever the other chore is or something else. Like your mind starts to get preoccupied. So the resistance comes within and also externally. But I would highly recommend reading that book from the lens of transitioning, whether you're trans or non-binary, or just a professional in the work life, because it really rings home and it's very relevant to this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Gabagool or Adriana, do you have any tips for those that are disconnected with their family or feeling lonely during the holidays?
Yeah, I think my tip is more tip for self-care and self-love.
Yeah.
When it comes to families, by the time we come out, like there's a lot of processing and things that we've gone through, or just we pull back the onion layers, and like, for this is who we are. And when we're that exposed to the people, when we're that exposed, the people that we love the most can hurt us the most. And I oftentimes kind of sit with that and just like think about the family members that had hurt me, or the people in my life that had hurt me because I was vulnerable enough to say this is who I am, and they weren't able to receive that honesty the way I wanted them to. And so I spent a lot of time kind of like trying to fix those relationships, and going above and beyond, just to make sure that like maybe we can mend those connections. But and a lot of times those connections are already dead, because we're sitting there putting all this energy, all this time, all these thoughts into something that is not rewarding us. It's not giving us in return. It doesn't mean it needs to be like on a list, or it needs to be any certain thing, but what it needs to do is needs to feed our soul. And if that relationship isn't feeding our soul, then the only relationship that should feed our soul is self. So I try to check on my battery all the time. Like, am I getting overworked? Am I getting overstressed? I like to I use these tools like this, like the fidget things, just to be able to kind of get through the days of stress. Oh my gosh, mints! I chew on candy. I go for a walk. These are
You,
things that like when I step into that mindset that is not fulfilling to me, I step back in the things that are filling for myself.
I like to eat crayons whenever I'm really bored. No, I'm kidding.
Hey,
Crayons.
Non-GMO. I'm picky.
I'm team green.
Neon
Yeah,
yellow.
I guess.
I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense, I guess.
Yes,
It makes total
absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
And to kind of just like piggyback from what all of you all said, because I very much agree. I think a lot of the times we put so much importance in the actual word, like family, you know, like just because somebody is family, we have to die for them or like be 100% aware and conscious of their happiness at all times. And I think when you realize that that's not really the case, like, yes, I definitely think if you have a great connection and relationship with your family and they bring you just as much happiness as you may bring to them, then yes, like, you know, just as anybody else in your life, family or not, somebody important in your life, you're going to put the same energy towards them. If those people are not doing the same to you, even if they're family, like you have to come to a point in your life where you have to just realize that that word family, yes, you know, I think we're so like brought up to like just assume that family is everything, which, you know, to some people it is, because some people have amazing relationships with their families, but not everybody's like that. And the reality of life is that a lot of people come from very dysfunctional families, and not just because somebody's your dad or your mom or your sister or your brother doesn't automatically make them a great person. Like, although I have a very great relationship with my family, I also come from a very dysfunctional family, and they have a lot of their own issues. And when I was living with them, I centered myself with all of that, constantly being the median of everybody, trying to be the glue of the family, bringing all that stress to myself. And when I removed myself, when I moved here to Arizona, the relievement it brought me has been insane. And it's not that I don't love my family, but it's just like at the end of the day, you really have to value yourself more, really take care of yourself. And it doesn't really matter like who is there for you, as long as like, you know, the people are bringing you just as much happiness as you're bringing them. And like, you know, the word family to me is just like, you know, I don't take it that hard or like as it should, because I've come to realize that like you can have really great parents, but that doesn't mean that they are good people. Like, you know, so like it just
Everyone's just human.
exactly. And the faster you start to realize that everybody is kind of like has their own demons and their own realities and their own things, regardless of how tight knit your family may be. Like at the end of the day, we came here naked and alone, and we're gonna die alone. So like
This is supposed
Wow!
to be
Happy
uplifting.
holidays! Happy holidays!
No, this is good. This is raw. It's real.
Well, she gave that nice cold splash of water right there, but it's true.
I mean, it's just like, no, like at the end of the day, it's like your happiness is what should matter. And it, like,
Yes.
if you're happy transitioning and being your authentic self, then that's what you need to be worrying about. Not, oh my gosh, are they going to accept me? Oh my gosh, did they disown me? Oh my gosh, am I getting validation from here? Am I getting
Yes.
validation from there? The only validation you need is from yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
My
Yes,
trans
I love
mamacita.
it. Yeah, and we're all
So thankful.
talking about self-care, and I think that's so important. And I know we want to use the word coping skill, but that's important for everyone, self-care. How about setting boundaries as
Ooh.
how have you set boundaries between you and your biological family, or even, friends? Have you set boundaries during, especially during this time of getting together, and what are those boundaries?
I'll go first because I'll keep it very simple. My boundaries are this: I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. And when you encroach on my space and my time and my anxiety, that means I have given you too much power. So my boundary is knowing what I'm capable of doing and what I'm capable of withstanding with everybody else around me. That's it.
Yes.
Great.
Period. Like
Yes.
that's literally life right there. Like I am plagued, so I'm a Cancer moon, Aries rising. Like I am very empathetic, huge water sign for any of you that are deep into those kind of things. But like I give my energy to everyone. I care about, I walk into a room, I can read the energy. So it's like, it's difficult being transgender and trying to appease everyone and worry about their opinions of me and try to bring them along for the ride. And you get that rejection after rejection. And it's just like
Mhm.
a rejection that cuts through your heart and your
Mm.
soul. And like my tactical advice would be use the block function when you need it, speak your piece, portray what is acceptable or not. And whenever they break that, feel free to block again and don't feel bad about it because they're giving you some bad energy. And it's not that they're bad people, they're also human, kind of like how Adria was talking about earlier. But like for me, it's like you need to protect yourself. Like the mental health in our community is so bad. The suicide rates are so high. Like if especially gets like transgender youth and things like that, it's like I can't even imagine. Like I'm transitioning as a 35-year-old woman with a very good career, a lot of perspective in life, a lot of mental maturity. I've been through a lot and I have tools and coping mechanisms that help me thrive. I can't imagine being younger and going through that, not
Yeah.
being totally, experienced to life and things like that. So it's like you have to protect yourself, your mental health. It's okay to turtle up at times, but don't let that turtling up turn into a habit where you don't open yourself up to others that will embrace you, which kind of circles
Mhm.
back to what we were talking about earlier. There's a give and a take, a tug and a pull. It's the different polarities, right? But like know where to withdraw and recognize when you're withdrawing in areas that prevents you from growing as well.
I love that
Yeah.
advice. And you can give advice, stand strong, set your boundaries, but some people don't feel as encouraged or as strong. I would also include start thinking about an exit strategy. So if you're out, what kind of exit strategies do you have in place? Are you just, if you're feeling uncomfortable, are you going to leave? Or maybe, you have to get back home. I know I have to get back home to my dogs, but just getting out of that situation that you're in that's making you uncomfortable. So you're back in that comfort, that space, taking care of your own headspace and not fulfilling an obligation for others.
I think it's good to mention too, like this. We gotta be very careful of the boundary of like what are safe spaces and what is us walling ourselves off to protect from everything else.
Very good point. That's a very good point. And I'm going to piggyback off of that. When you have to have, when we're talking about boundaries, you got to, not just for others, but you got to have boundaries for yourself. How
Mm.
much crap you'll allow people to give you. How much stuff, when you're living your life, how much you'll allow people to, whether it be insult you or to judge you. You get what I'm saying? Trying to be take the upper high road, so to speak. There's certain things you learn to tolerate, and certain things, no, we're not gonna go there, period. And you gotta know, you gotta have all that stuff established no matter where you go, especially in our community. When we go out in public, when we go into restaurants, okay, like, hey, you get a good look, you know what I mean? Yeah, this is who you see. You get what I'm saying? You got a nice eye full now. You good? You want to take a picture? Okay, you good to go?
Terry, I love it.
You know, you got to understand. Like I tell guys in my, you got to own that shit. You know what I mean? Who you are is who you are. You know what I mean? Even being me running the organization, and people find out and like say, "What? But what?" No, this is what I do. These are my people. You get what I'm saying? And if just because you don't understand it, that don't mean I got to make it okay for you. You get what I'm saying? That's your problem. If you want to know and you genuinely want to understand, then we can have a conversation. But if you're like what I say, just a looky-loo, and you're trying to be curious to try to figure out whether you can, I ain't got time for it. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody got time. We're living our lives. If you want to be, you want to be a person that just kind of follows what we're doing, hey, that's your problem. But don't expect me to hold your hand through the process. If you're genuine, that's a different story. But your boundaries is your boundaries for yourself and other people, and you gotta stick to it. You know what I mean? And like I said, own that shit.
Yes, no, it's really good. Like, so like for example, like I'm going through like diversity and inclusion training at Intel as I'm on the way out. And there's like different levels of your journey, right? Like some of it's owning your story, some, and like the pinnacle of it is like being an influencer. And it's like, I feel like it's hard for people that are transgender because it's like there's such a small part of us, and non-binary too. It's like everyone wants you to be like their messiah to help enlighten them as to why you are who you are and why it's okay or not okay and all this kind of stuff. And it's like you carry that burden, and it's like if you're not up to it from an energy perspective to be that's okay. Tap out. So that's your problem. Point them to people like us on this call right now. Like, I'm more than willing to go toe to toe with these people and explain why I am and how it is my authentic self. Like, you don't have to carry that burden. Because I think what happens is a lot of us get burned out by trying to carry the burden, and we're not ready for it. Like, know where you are in your journey. I
got one for you on this. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have to explain to somebody in a restaurant why you like fish or why do you like steak?
No.
Then why you got to explain who you are? Do you get what I'm saying? It's not your problem for them to try to, you know what I mean? Nobody questions what you order in a dinner menu. Why do they got to question why you have to live the way I live my life? It's none of your business.
Actually, all right, let me pause there. This is funny anecdotal. So today I went to Culver's drive-thru. I'm sick. I just wanted soup. I was like, fish and chips sounds good. So I ordered fish and chips, and they asked me what my sides were. So like it comes with fries, and I could have got some other one. And I was like, what's your other sides? And I said mashed potatoes. And they judged me for getting mashed potatoes with my fries. Potato and potato. So sometimes people do ask you about what you're ordering.
Oh, think about it. You get judged on all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It is.
I totally got judged though. She was like, what? Potatoes? She's like, are you sure you want mashed potatoes? You're getting fries. I'm like, yeah, I'm sick.
You want double carb?
Yeah.
You want double carb?
I'm not eating enough. Gotta keep my curves.
Wait a minute, you got an ice cream cone and you're gonna do the Diet Coke? What that doesn't make any sense. Who cares? It's my food.
Get what you want. Get what you want.
Molly, Tommy, Stannis are coming in. Gabagool, Terry McGriff, Terry McGee.
Right.
Adriana, were you going to say something a little earlier?
I think just going back to boundaries, I think that's something that I struggle a lot with. Is setting boundaries for myself and for people. I think I'm such a people pleaser, and I definitely have, it's still something that I'm working on. I I don't know, it's hard. That's something really hard to do because I definitely let people influence me a lot in the way that I let them affect my life. And although I'm a very confident person with who I am as a person and what I will allow in my life, I still am very easily influenced and very easily persuade and manipulated, I guess I would say. So that's something that I'm still working on. So I know how terribly hard that is to set boundaries for yourself. But I think one thing that definitely will help is just having someone or a support system of people that are going to be there to kind of put things into perspective for you. Like just even asking for advice constantly is a big help. And I think that's what has helped me a lot, especially this past year. I have experienced some really very intense downfalls that I definitely like let people, push my boundaries and I allow them to hurt me. But having like friends like Sophia or having other friends that have really put things into perspective for me and drill them into my head has brought me to like, excuse me, and those relationships.
Not
So,
excuse.
so I mean, it's definitely hard. I think boundaries are something that a lot of people can struggle with, but it's just a matter of like actually having people that will remind you that you shouldn't take crap from people.
You
I think
guys
it's
are
also
women. I mean, you could, Sophia, you and Adriana and Heather also, because you are women, you have that extra pressure of being a pleaser because of the femininity of you, who you are. So your whole thing is being nurturers and stuff like that, and you're trying to be considerate of other people's feelings, already automatically going to make you vulnerable. So, you guys have a little bit harder time than us who have more masculine identifications, so to speak. And we have that kind of what we can say rudeness. So you have to understand, as a guy, it is what it is. I'm gonna like, hey, no, is my yes is yes, my no is no, and really there's no discussion about it. But you because you have that tendency to want to be more concerned about how people think and be more of the nurturer in your spirit, it comes a little bit harder. So it's not to be judgmental of yourself. That's part of your nature. So when you do that, you have to really kind of be a little bit more conscious of setting those boundaries, knowing that you're trying to make that balance. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that I know I am a people pleaser. That some people are just people pleasers, even whenever I say no, whenever I actually say no and I don't want to, I feel so guilty and I come up back and say yes or figure out how to make it work. So
Yeah.
that kind of brings us on to our next our next subject, because it is the holidays and I know I'm saying yes more to obligations. Like I said, I would take tomorrow off, and now somebody just texted me and asked me about an 8:30 meeting, and if I say no, I'm going to feel guilty. But we have all these obligations and we're getting more of them, and some of the obligations may be uncomfortable around certain family members too. So an important thing is allowing time for us to decompress. And I wanted to talk about how you decompress. Examples like how I decompress is I like to be by myself. I'll go to a movie by myself, or I'll go out to eat by myself, or I'll get my nails done by myself. And that really helps me decompress. So how about you, Gabagool? How do you decompress during the holidays?
Well, tomorrow, me and my partner are going to Long Beach and to spend a week just like on the beach, unplugged from the phone, take in the cold ocean breeze.
You say
Remember what it's
unplug from the phone?
Yeah, unplugged from the phone. You know how much anxiety this phone gives me? Here's the thing. When you're in social media all the time, when you work for a place where you're constantly talking to people all the time, when you're always in communications with other people, people would demand your attention. And to me, like I'm really good about understanding okay, this doesn't need my attention right now. I can wait 15 minutes. I can wait 20 minutes. But somehow there's this need to like respond right now. But most of the stuff isn't that urgent, you know? So I've been able to check myself on like, is this important for me right now? And most of the time, I would say 90% of the times it's like, no, you can wait. You can go take a shower and then respond to it, you know? Those types of things. But yeah, I'm going to the beach. I'm just gonna unplug from the phone and just take a week and be able to come into 2023 with ready to achieve my dream, you know?
Love
That's
it.
great. And I love the way you're unplugging from everything because I often too feel like I'm playing a part all day. I'm playing the business person and I'm talking to clients and I just want to unplug and be myself. And I love traveling and if with your partner or I like to travel alone too. How about you, Sophia? How do you take time to decompress?
Um, I always like to go to Sedona. So moving to Cali
Yeah.
is gonna be hard. Like I've been to Sedona, more than most people live in Arizona and grew up here. Like I've probably been there like 25 times, but I love to meditate. There's lots of different resources out there for meditation. There's no wrong way to do it. I'm very Western minded and I love Eastern thought. I highly recommend there's a YouTube video called like Spiritual Reality, a guide to like meditation or something like that. That really helps me bridge the gap because like when I go down to meditate and it's guided and it's like get in the meditative position, my brain's like, what does that look like? Should I be sitting? Should I be standing? You know, because I just want to like do what I'm supposed to do, right? So it's like, no, whatever feels comfortable. So like I like to do that kind of stuff. I love hanging out with friends that accept me. Like having Adrian in my life has been amazing. We've been roomies here for a little bit, which has been such a blessing. But really, it's just about unplugging, kind of what Gabigail was saying, giving yourself the space and accepting that, hey, you want to know what? The reason why people are always so enamored by you is because you're always putting yourself out there and helping them. They're okay with you going, I need a week. I need a week. I'm not asking for a lot. I need a week to go recharge my soul. And it's hard when you're empathetic to allow yourself that space, but it's so important. And whether it's a week or it's 10 minutes or a day or 5 days, whatever it looks like, you have to do that. But for me, the biggest thing is just meditation. And I also like to do a little PC gaming. I like to play Overwatch. It's like meditative to me. Like some people do meditation, some people do Kung Fu, some people do Pilates, whatever it might be, more like active meditation. I love to play Overwatch. I'm so good at the game. I like to just frag noobs. I'm such a nerd.
They can't get you into an 8:30 meeting if your phone's off. I just want to let you know that.
Sorry, my productive laughing cough is probably unattractive.
Adriana, do you have anything to add about decompressing or how you decompress?
For me, kind of like what you said, I also like to spend a lot of time alone, especially when I'm feeling very stressed or overwhelmed. I think music and working out huge outlet for me. Like I'm constantly listening to music. I think it brings me peace. I think music is such a beautiful thing. Because it can really just kind of change your mood in so many ways. Working out, just really pushing your body brings such reliefment to you, like especially when you're stressed. And honestly, crying too. Like I love to cry. I think over the years I have come to allow myself to feel my emotions instead of suppress them. So whenever I do feel very overwhelmed or sad or hurt, I will allow myself to cry because it feels good. You know, I think we're humans are very emotion filled beings, and a lot of people suppress that stuff when you should really allow yourself to just feel what you're feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
The music, weren't we going to have a dance off tonight?
Oh,
We don't have the rights. We don't have the rights.
Oh, no, we don't have the rights to the music. That's right.
But
Okay.
we can freestyle though. I'll be in freestyle. I'll guarantee it.
Well, this has been a great conversation. I'm going to end with this one last question about New Year's. What do you look forward to in 2023? I hate to use the word New Year's resolution, but what are you looking forward to in 2023?
Adriana, I don't think
Stumped
you
you?
started before. Is it Adriana? Right? Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm looking for 2023 is going to be my big 30th birthday. I am I'm
Or
embracing
21st. The 21st. She's lying.
I'm honestly very excited. I think I'm ready to just fully embrace my life. I think the last couple of years here in Arizona were so new and getting everything like, I don't know. I had like a lot of bumps in the road growing up in my 20s. It was more so just worrying about my transition and getting myself to a point where I felt truly comfortable with myself. And although maybe I'm not there 100%, I'm definitely in a mindset. I got out of a very toxic relationship also, which is why it was the reason that I moved out here. But I'm finally very self-sufficient. I'm on my own. I'm just very aware and self-conscious of myself and haven't relied much on people. And I think going into my 30s, I'm just ready to really kick off my life, really start focusing on a career and on like furthering my transition. And that's what I'm really looking forward to in 2023.
Nice.
Anyone else, what you're looking forward to, or even a New Year's resolution?
Sophia?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I mean, for me, it's like I've got a new chapter turning over right now. Like I'm still writing my story. Like I'm going to the Bay Area. Like I'm relocating. It's so exciting. Like it's a highly competitive job, and I beat out people globally for. Like I'm so career focused, and I'm just trying to trailblaze for like our community and like show like just because I'm trans doesn't mean I'm insufficient. So like I think for me it's like I'm definitely focused on my career this year. I want to thrive. I want to like kick the ground off running. I want to wow people. So like that's going to be like kind of like my New Year's resolution is just to slay it at work. But like more importantly, like for me, it's like I want to make sure that I'm whole and find my person. Like I went through divorce because of transitioning, and soulmate means something to me and means something different to other people. So it's like my hope is this year I'm looking forward to finding true love, like at the truest form, and also showing that trans people are not only, you know, there in society, but also can thrive and be very successful. And we have brilliant minds as well as anyone else, and that we're here to stay and we're not going away.
Yes.
Come on, Gaba.
All right, ask you right now.
That's good. I don't know if I'm going to do a New Year's resolution, but I like to walk into every new year just remembering to forgive myself. Forgive myself for that year. Forgive myself for what's going to come in that year, because I don't want to stir in my mess. I want to continue to grow and personally personify my light. And that looks differently creatively, right? I want to be on the biggest stages I've ever been. I want to meet all new people in all different kinds of queer spaces. I want to engage with people like I never have before creatively, which means bringing my art to places that don't typically get my art. Professionally, I think what I really want to utilize is my ability to teach, and I want to hopefully maybe teach others about pronouns and about how to love our diversity instead of be resistant to our diversity. And I also think too, one of my biggest goals is to ensure that I'm also pulling people up with me, and I'm uplifting other voices, and that I'm understanding that maybe people aren't as loud as I am, or maybe don't have the platform I have, but I want them to come with me on this journey. I'm not in this alone, and I recognize that my brothers and sisters and my in-betweens are part of that journey too.
Beautiful. How about you, Terry?
Whoa, I don't know. How do you follow what he just said?
Terry,
Because he stole a lot of my thunder in that. And
Permanently borrowed.
you know, as Heather, as you know, we've already started like with different events that we're planning for 2023 and beyond. My goal of all of this is to reach and come in contact with many more beautiful souls, such as everybody on this in this meeting, and grow the relationships there, and bring them into the fold with what we're doing with the NTSA, so that they could bring their perspective to so many people who out there that still don't know what we do, and that we are to be glorified, justified, and validated from others and ourselves. And amongst our community, we definitely have to really unite in a way that we haven't united before. Learning how to accept each other without the way we want other people to accept us. I think that's the one thing we have to learn, to accept each other, because a lot of times, just of me being new to this, I've seen some in some of the bickering and some of the inner fighting amongst ourselves. I'm like, dude, a house divided can't stand. And coming from a different, I'm gonna just come from a different perspective, being an African American, and I'm a little bit older than you guys, knowing that, you know, civil rights movement is never going to be civil. Okay, it's never going to be civil. You have to take it by force, and you have to take it by being united and with the people who want to unite with them, even if they look, sound, or just are different than you. Knowing to get your allies where you get your allies, and number one, yourself is your ally. You get what I'm saying? Remember to always be your own ally when it comes to this. And I want to make sure that, knowing you guys now, that we continue to grow our relationships together. And I'll put this all out. Anything I can do to help you, Heather got my information. Please reach out. Please, let's make sure that we are looking at each other's Instagram pages, making sure anytime we can help each other win events. You guys got a lot to offer. Your different backgrounds and professional. We need you. You know, the whole family, the whole demographic needs your talents, and we need to really become strong, like an iron chain, so that any kind of kinks, any kind of rust that we find, we can kind of overcome that, and we can strengthen to demographics all over the country and all over the world. Because as I've seen right now, there's just come from Mexico City, and people are the same all over the world. You have transgenders, no matter whether you go. You have straight, gay, no matter where you go. And people are going through these different struggles, as well as they're going through their different type of way they're living. Everybody doesn't always live the same. We're kind of lucky being in the United States because some of the things we have, but then again, we're also kind of crapped on, because there's certain things about living being Mexico. Man, I love it down there. I was like, okay, I wouldn't mind living here, because there's certain freedoms that you get there that you don't have here, that most people don't understand until you move in down there.
Totally. No, it's interesting too that you kind of bring up the perspective of being African American, because like I found so much more embrace from the African American community towards me, especially out in public. Mm-hmm. They're like, I'll show my ID at a store, and they're like, I like your new look a lot better than your ID. You know, like just like little subtle things, like
like I'm loving your cheeks and stuff right now. How you got them? It's like, and I'm really seriously, you know what I mean? You know, you can see as you guys are transitioning who you really are, and you can tell. You're like, I love like your mannerisms. I notice all those things, and you don't have to sit there and say you're transitioning to a woman. You guys are already women. You were born that. It's in your spirit. It shines through who you are and just how you live and how you like. I mean, if like Adrian, if you hadn't told me you're trans, I would have known. You get what I'm saying?
I told you, she's the most passable trans woman. She's always like,
you get what I'm saying? No, that goes, but the same thing for you, Sophie, because you're saying that your mannerisms, you know, the way you hold the way you carry yourselves is totally different. So you don't have to, for lack of a better phrase, you don't have to try to show who you are. You automatically come out who you are. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense.
Thank you,
I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that, Terry. I'll
Okay.
drink to that.
Yes.
Well, we're
Terry,
coming up.
whenever you're in town, we're all gonna do drinks.
Oh yeah, I'll be.
Yes.
Hopefully, I'll be in
bottle of-
Phoenix for the Super Bowl.
Yes,
Yes.
you will be, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we're
Pop some
I'm
coming.
looking. I'm looking for a place right now so we can, because we have an event there the day before the Super Bowl.
Okay, let's stay in
All right,
contact.
we'll all stay in contact, but we're
Deal.
coming up on our hour, and I wanted to thank everyone. Yes, thank everyone for adding to the conversation and inspiring others. So thank you all again, and hopefully we'll have another conversation next month or maybe around February. We can talk about Valentine's Day, and we'll go from there. So thank you all again. Happy holidays, happy New Year, and I'll see you on Molly Tommy.
Happy. See you later, guys.
Bye.
All right, bye, everyone.
Happy holidays.